everyone, thank you for joining me on another vlog episode, and this time I will be talking about Mortal Kombat, the reboot, my review, my take of it. I'm not going to talk about my films in the process. I thought I'd switch it up, but yeah, let's get down to it. Mortal Kombat was an enjoyable film, had its flaws, some disappointments, but I really enjoyed Mortal Kombat. If you were fortunate enough like me to see the 95 version in theaters as a child or as an adult, if you're still alive and whatnot, I would think that you enjoyed it, and for its time, it was probably the best fighting, video game in general, the best video game, and I really enjoyed the 95 version. I mean, I still enjoy the 95 version. I still see it to this day. I really enjoyed it, and takeaways from that I didn't like was really no fatalities or blood, nothing that was really Mortal Kombat in that sense, but the feel, the island of Shang Tsung, which you didn't get in the reboot. You got to see Goro and Kano with his metal plate with the laser. Well, he didn't shoot lasers, but he had the metal plate with the red eye, and they felt more close to the game, the actors and how they were, the costumes versus what you got in the reboot, which is fine because a lot of the characters did look like the characters in the video game. Scorpion and Sub-Zero suit more closely to the current games, and Kano, even though he didn't have his outfit, he had mercenary wear, which was fine. Kung Lao and Liu Kang, so in that aspect, in both movies you did have attire that was close. But one thing I guess I didn't really care for, like when I say Kano, he had the metal plate with the red eye, even though he didn't use lasers. In the reboot, this Kano used laser. But one thing I didn't like about the film was the use of Arcana, or the way they went about Arcana, which was never a thing in the games. But I was okay with the idea of the dragon mark, and if you have that, you have this Arcana that you can unlock, and it'll be an ability that you're able to use. I would have preferred it being more so for select characters, the Arcana, like Liu Kang and maybe Cabal, because he's fast in the games, and how they never really explained why he's fast. He's just fast. At least I don't think they've explained it. Or and Kung Lao and his hat, and how he's able to like teleport out the ground onto his into his hat and all that. But for Jax to get his arms after it was destroyed by Sub-Zero, and then in Raiden's temple they created these small metal arms for him, which is fine. But the fact that it wasn't more something that happened over time, that they the special forces created these arms for him, unlike which they've done I believe in the original sequel Mortal Kombat. He was like held somewhere, and even though his arms were still there, he just put the metal arms over his arms to kind of give him more strength. And this one, it was the monks that they created his arms, and it was smaller. It was some type of metal arms, and his Arcana for Jax was more metal, like it got bigger, and he was able to be more stronger because of that Arcana was his ability, which I thought was corny. The same way with explaining Kano's laser beam. He didn't have a metal plate. He has a regular face, and then the scratch from, I believe, Reptile, they call him Scyzoff, which I think it was his real name in the games. But he gets the scratch, and it's like, okay, something's wrong with his face. They got that whole slashes, and then the laser beam from his Arcana, because he has the dragon champion. He has the tattoo, the birthmark of the dragon symbol, which means he's an Earthrealm champion, and he gets his Arcana unlocked, which is his laser beam, which I think is just corny. And then you have Sonya Blade, who shoots the rings in the games, but in the movie that's her Arcana, and she kills Melina like that. And I just thought, well, it's not really, unless they would have showed her charge it and then blast her, then okay, fatality. But it's usually, I guess, like a concussive thing or something in the games, and I just feel like they maybe shot themselves in the foot with the whole Arcana thing and explaining abilities, because unless they got multiple abilities that they can use, I didn't really care for it for most of the characters to have Arcana and to explain why they have what they have. I would have liked Kano to gotten slashed in the eye, and it would have revealed that he had a metal plate underneath, and then his eye was actually, you know, red because it's has the ability to shoot laser because of technology. Kind of like what they did, I believe, with the Mortal Kombat, was it Rebirth or Legacy, that they explained how Jax punched his eye out and they were able to create, you know, this metal plate. I don't know which eye it was. I think it's this side, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, he just has a metal plate and then the laser beam. But yeah, I mean, I did enjoy the movie. Another thing I didn't like. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. Let's talk about what I did like. So I already said what I didn't like, the Arcana. One thing I did like, I loved Kung Lao. I thought he was amazing. I loved seeing him in the movie. They portrayed him very well. Max Wong, I believe is his name. Forgive me for such a name wrong. I think he did a great job portraying him. The fight, you know, his fighting just felt like Kung Lao. It looked like Kung Lao, like when you're playing the video games. His outfit was on point. His fatality was probably the best fatality in the film, with, you know, Natara, who didn't, you know, get enough screen time. I know she's like a whatever character, and I never cared for her in any of the, I think it was Mortal Kombat Armageddon that she was in, or the one before that. I didn't care for her character, but I would have liked her to have dialogue. I know there was a saying that flawless victory that Kung Lao does because he didn't get hit, and he fatalities her, and, you know, ends up beating her, killing her. But she just flew at him, and he just rolled her, and she ran into his spinning hat and flawless victory. And I just felt like you should have at least had her say something or fight him but not hit him. It would have, and then say flawless victory, because at least there's a battle. I hate characters that are just on screen and nothing's being said. You know, same for General Reiko, who's another character that I never cared for, and, you know, he's fighting Jax, and he's just grunts throughout the whole movie. He doesn't say anything, and it's like, you can give the actors a lot more to do. Kano, who was awesome, Josh Lawson, they did a great job. He was funny. I did enjoy him as Kano, although I think he spoke too much, which was kind of annoying. And I felt like he probably had the most dialogue in the film. And it's like you could have, you know, given some of that dialogue to the other characters, you know, the actors. But, you know, he was definitely a top character, Kano. Josh Lawson did a good job as him. Pretty much, I enjoyed the original Kano actor from the first film. I forget his name. Sorry, but I know, rest in peace. I know he passed away, but he did a great job with Kano also. Liu Kang, I thought the original Liu Kang was better. I forget his name. I don't know why I'm forgetting these names. But I really enjoyed him as Liu Kang, the original, versus Ludi Lin, the reboot. He just felt, I just didn't feel him as Liu Kang. He just felt like off to me, different character, and I'm hoping he gets a bigger role in the sequel. If they do the sequel, I hope he gets a bigger role and more to do in the sequel, because, you know, he's supposed to be the main character. Sonya Blade, I think, did a great, the actress Jessica McNamee, I think I said her name right. I liked her as Sonya Blade more so than I did Bridget Wilson, who I enjoyed as Sonya Blade in the original, but I didn't really see or feel her, Bridget Wilson, as Sonya Blade, I guess fighting wise or whatever. Could I have done better? Maybe not, but I did like Jessica as this Sonya Blade. My favorite character is Johnny Cage in the games, and I loved Lyndon Ashby in the original role. I didn't see Johnny Cage in this film, which, you know, they mentioned that he wasn't going to be in it, so I wasn't disappointed, other than when the news was that he wasn't going to be in it. But he was alluded to the character, and, you know, that he would be in a sequel, and I just hope they find the right actor. Unless they want to cast me, you know, I'll get the haircut, and, you know, we can make it happen. I'll audition as Johnny Cage, get me a stunt double for fighting, because that's what Johnny Cage is about anyway, right? I don't need to be a big fighter, but I know that right now they're talking about Ryan Reynolds to be Johnny Cage, which, you know, I like Ryan, but I don't know if I want to see him as Johnny Cage in the film. They're talking about the WWE wrestler The Miz. He's vying to play Johnny Cage, and I'm like, no. You know, I see a lot of comments on Facebook where they're like, oh yeah, The Miz, and he's just like Johnny, and I'm like, he's nowhere like Johnny. Yeah, he's cocky, his character, or, you know, he's a jerk, and, you know, he's just, I can see what they're talking about, but he still doesn't exude what Johnny Cage is about in the films, or in the games. I just don't see it, and I don't want to look at his face. I'm not a fan of The Miz, and I just don't want to see him as Johnny Cage. And I know his character is what he is in the WWE. When I say I'm not a fan, I don't know him as a person, but I don't see him as Johnny Cage. I don't want to see him as Johnny Cage. I know people are saying Scott Adkins, who's a great, who's a fighter, martial artist, or excuse me, one of the fighting. He does his own stunts, fighting stunts, and they're saying him. And I guess I've never seen him act really, but I would be down to get someone that can actually fight where you don't have to worry about, I guess, stunt doubles, save your money. But if not, yeah, just cast me as Johnny Cage. He's my favorite character, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I think I'm excited to see Johnny Cage. I was disappointed I'm not seeing him in this film. Who other characters was involved? I mean, Sub-Zero, Joe Taslim. Did I say is it Joe Taslim who plays Sub-Zero? And Scorpion. For his name, his name escapes me. It's like I don't know why I'm forgetting all these names. And I'm pretty good with names, but they were great in their roles, and I really love the angle of Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I thought that was cool. I didn't care for the Cole character, the new guy, the eyes. For those who aren't aware of the whole idea of Mortal Kombat, the games, and for what they say, they got this new character for that audience to be their eyes, and I just thought that was lame. I think he was a lame character. I didn't care for him. You could have used every other character, and if the story and the writing was done well, you could have explained, or the audience that are new to this, the Mortal Kombat franchise could have been explained. I hated the whole angle of Cole. I didn't like his character. The actor is fine. I mean, I had no problem with the acting. The actor, I just didn't care for the character. If you ask me, I hope in the sequel he gets fatality, because I don't want to see him. He's not my Mortal Kombat character. If you're gonna keep new characters, keep them in a game. Introduce them. But to introduce a new character in the film, when you have tons of other characters in the game that you could have used, you should have just did that. Because you've used Cabal, who's from Mortal Kombat 3. You've used Natara, who's from Mortal Kombat 6, 7, and it's like you've introduced Reiko, Mortal Kombat 4. You've introduced these characters already. Melina, Mortal Kombat 2. You've introduced these characters already, and you give us a new character, Cole, and he was just lame. I didn't like his Arcana, like the armor. I thought that was corny and a pretty obvious power that he would have, because, well, obviously in the trailer, because you saw it when Goro was jumping at him. But I just thought it was lame. I didn't like it. He gets the tauntauns and the bladed, and he defeats Goro, and I'm like, really? He defeats Goro, and Goro's supposed to be this champion. And mind you, the story of the first film, it's supposed to take place, it's a prequel to the tournament. But you're killing these characters that should have been in the tournament, and I feel like for the sequel, it's gonna combine parts 2 and 3 together. Part 3 in the games is the Outworld invasion of Earth, where they invade Earth. So I think they're supposed to do like 4 films in total if everything goes well. So I think they're just gonna combine films, or let's just go with a whole new story, a whole new way. Which is, again, the whole Arcana thing I can live with. It's not part of the game. The whole champions, the birthmark, wherever you get it in your body. It's a new universe. It's another universe. It doesn't have to be the same game universe. I get that. That happens. Multiverse type things. Everything's different. But I just wish they could have gone things differently with the whole, again, the Arcana thing. Maybe I would have preferred the island of Shang Tsung where the tournament takes place. Like, that was one thing that I was hoping to see. I didn't really care for a lot of the set pieces in the film. But overall, the film, they definitely catered to fans. The sayings, finish him, flawless victory. I did like the acting. A lot of people saying the acting was trash. That didn't bother me. I didn't think I see any characters that I just was like, his acting is bad or her acting is bad, other than just either they didn't say anything, just grunting, or they talk too much, which again, it was really just Kano, which again, great. He was a great character, but it was like, shut up, bro. One character that I did like, who I haven't mentioned, or I'd mentioned, but Cabal from Mortal Kombat 3. He was in this film. He's played by an actor, but voiced by someone else. But I really enjoyed Cabal. I loved how he spoke. His first dialogue when he's, it's him, Melina, and General Raiko meeting Shang Tsung, and then you see Natara screeching, flying, and Shang Tsung introduces her. Cabal's like, he says something like, she's my beautiful, or my something that Natara Shang Tsung says about her, complimenting, and Cabal is like, yeah, that screech is a real turn on. And I just, the way he said it, and just how he speaks in general going forward, I just really enjoyed Cabal, and wish he would have lived. But again, the characters that died, they're probably not gonna stay dead. It's Mortal Kombat. In the games, characters come alive. If you know Johnny Cage, who dies in the second game, in the story, he gets killed by Kentaro, or the third, he gets killed by Kentaro, and as he's supposed to, I guess, ascend into the afterlife, heaven, or whatever they go about in the franchise, because of the outworld invasion, his spirit gets blocked off, I think, and then he's able to come back into his body, or Raiden was able to get him back as his, or I think there's another story that Raiden was able to get him back, his spirit back into his body to be a champion. One of those, but he did die, and then he comes back. And I know in the current, the new game, part 11, 10, 11, where there's revenants, those that died, they're controlled, and they're like undead warriors. They can probably bring them back, even though I don't care to see them as undead warriors. I'd rather somehow, I'd rather them be dead. I don't think you should kill characters to bring them back, because then there's there's nothing at stake if you're gonna bring characters back. I would have liked Melina to live, another character who, she's from the second one, as I've mentioned, and she's Katana's clone, but she gets killed. Sonya Blade shoots her rings, and it goes through her stomach. I thought that was just a corny way to go. I didn't like the setup, because Cole was getting beat up, or he needed help to get. I don't think he was able to, not getting beat up, but he probably couldn't handle Melina or get her, and he asked for help, I believe, and Sonya comes through and helps him. I just thought that was lame. Like, it should have just been one-on-one. You just defeated Goro. You're telling me you can't defeat Melina? So I didn't like that. But if they do cast Katana, which she's alluded to, her fan weapon, in the sequel, I know people are saying they want Gal Gadot to be Wonder Woman, to be Katana, and I can see the look. Honestly, just cast Sissy Stringer, who's Melina, to be Katana, because she's supposed to be Katana's clone, just mixed with the Turkatan blood, and that's why she looks the way she looks. Like, don't cast another actress as Katana. She's supposed to be a clone. Yeah, you could say, oh, well, she's a messed up clone, again with the whole face. She should look different, but I'm like, just cast her. Give her the role of Katana. I want to see more of her. I've never seen this actress, so I want to be able to give that opportunity for this, I guess, new and upcomer, or maybe she's done roles and this was just her biggest role. I don't know, but I would like to see that continue. With the clone aspect, just keep it as her. Give her another role, as Katana. So I think overall, again, there was still some things I didn't like. The whole Raiden's temple, where that's where it started, and again, the actor who played Raiden, I think I liked him as Raiden. I just didn't care for how Raiden was portrayed versus how Christopher Lambert's character was. Even though he was a little off to me too, Christopher Lambert, well, not off, but what I didn't expect the character to be like, but I did like him as Raiden, and I didn't mind the actor as this Raiden to be Raiden. I just didn't like how he was portrayed. I think he was too serious, the character, than he should have been. Because I know in the later games he becomes Dark Raiden. He gets corrupted, and then I can see that attitude but I didn't really care for it so soon in the film. I think that again, it's not the actor's fault; it's the writing. I would have preferred it to be done differently, and that's why I guess I prefer Christopher Lambert, because the way it was gone about, it's serious, but also like not too serious. I prefer that way. But there's also a whole thing with whitewashing. The characters, which Mehcad Brooks, who plays Jax, who I think did a great job as Jax. That was something that he mentioned in this reboot. You have a diverse cast, which is always amazing. I'm always for it, and I love that the cast, is diverse, and there wasn't any of that whitewashing that was mentioned. Again, for the original, however, the casting went about with that. If they want to say whitewashing or not, I don't know. I wasn't part of that casting. I don't know whoever casted and the role, the reasoning behind those roles. But I did like the cast. I love everybody in this cast, and I love diversity especially. So I thought it was pretty cool, and I'm all for a sequel. I'm hoping it gets sequel. From what I read, I think they're gonna go with it because I think it did very well. It did 22 point something million, I believe, for the weekend. That's not really much nowadays, but with this whole pandemic and how nothing's been really hitting the theaters like that, or renting and subscription Disney Plus and HBO Max and all that. I think from what they said, it did the most, probably more than King Kong, Godzilla versus Kong. I say King Kong, but it's just Kong. I wouldn't say he's King Kong because we already know who the King of Monsters is Godzilla. And I think that's why they did that with the title, Godzilla versus Kong instead of King Kong, because But yeah, this isn't Godzilla Kong review. But yeah, so I think from what I read, they said they were gonna do a sequel, and I'm all for it. I'm with it. Again, I liked everybody's portrayals. I loved Sonya Blade, Jax, everybody except Natara and General Reiko, because there was nothing to them. They were just there. So other than that, I'm excited to see Johnny Cage again. I want to audition for Johnny Cage, so if anyone's out there watching this review that's part of the film, hit me up, EJMartinezJr@gmail.com. That's my email. Follow me on Instagram, EJMJr. You can look at my videos if you want to utilize that as part of acting, which again, none of my roles in my short films are Johnny Cage-esque, but I do acting, I do short films, not just my projects but other people's projects. So yes, I want to be Johnny Cage. We'll see what happens. Again, probably not, but don't sell yourself short, right? Always be positive. But I like Mortal Kombat. It definitely catered to the fans. It had some switches. It's always gonna be that way. Movies are always gonna switch. Movies are always gonna switch from the stories of video games, and then in the most part for the worst. Same with books. Books get translated into the movies, and sometimes the movies, it's cool, not better than the book, or it's just not a good movie. But yeah, I think Mortal Kombat 2021, the reboot, was awesome. I still think the 1995 version is my Mortal Kombat, but I'm still for this version, and I'm gonna go. I'm definitely gonna watch the next one. Hopefully, it's better than the Annihilation sequel for the original '95 version, because that was trashed. If you want more Mortal Kombat and you haven't seen the Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge animated film, definitely check it out. It's awesome. Probably the best Mortal Kombat film, if you will. If it's not live action anime, you choose. I would say maybe Revenge is my favorite, but for live action, I did enjoy the '95 version more. But that's not to take away from this one. So if you haven't seen it already, definitely check it out. I know I'm speaking spoilers, so maybe you're like me because I like spoilers. I did that for most of the Marvel films. I would read up of what happened when it came out in theaters before I saw it, and then I'd go to watch the movie. Why do I do that? It's weird. I like to know what's coming and then wait for the crowds to see it and like hear the ohs. I just get like a high or a rush, if you will, from just knowing that I know something that the audience doesn't know. But yeah, that's what I did with those films, the Marvel films. So yeah, let me know what you thought of Mortal Kombat. You know, comment. Let's talk. Let's see, you know, if we agree or disagree on some things. The fighting, maybe it's something that I didn't really care for. I thought it could be better. It could have improved. Definitely the Sub-Zero and Scorpion fights were awesome, especially in the beginning with Hanzo Hasashi before he becomes Scorpion, the character. You know, his beginning scene I thought was dope. So, you know, hopefully it gets improved, the fighting. I know there was some types of where like someone gets hit back and then they kind of like align themselves back into a posture where they're not like knocked on the ground. And I think I've seen that with Sonya a lot, and Melina, which I thought it was a little too fake looking, that it could have been better. But again, it's just little minor stuff, but I would love to see the improvement of the fighting. If it's going to be in a tournament, the sequel, let there be some great fighting. But yeah, with that said, I give 2 thumbs up for Mortal Kombat. If you enjoy the franchise, the video games, and you're like anticipating, you're not sure, you're just waiting for, you know, others' reviews before you actually see the movie, you gotta go see it from me. But yeah, with that said, thank you everyone for watching, and until next time, later.